Is Dave Chappelle there?
Yeah, it's wild. Chappelle stands on a stage a lot of the time. And the party just goes on underneath him.
He stands on a stage?
Yeah.
Does what?
Smokes a cigarette and talks. Occasionally he'll just be like, everybody listen, I'm better than everybody here. And then go back to standing. It's pretty fun.
Have you ever watched Key and Peele?
Yeah.
It's kind of funny.
Yeah.
They do that thing, though. They ruin it by right when they've got something funny in their hand, they got to let you know that, like, they bring in the white versus black thing.
Yeah.
Really annoying. And I know it's hard to resist that temptation. It's the same thing with Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle's like, and I don't even think Dave Chappelle's that funny necessarily. I think he's like a master storyteller. If you look at his stand-up, it's the quality that's good is the storytelling. It's not actually the jokes. And if you go back to his earlier stand-up and look at when it was just jokes and not storytelling, it's not good.
Yeah.
It's not funny. Like it's funny. It's funny like if you're drinking and you're in a nightclub and you're watching a stand-up do his thing, then it's funny. Like the joke about the baby on the street corner in the project, stuff like that. But his storytelling is the best.
That's what elevates it.
But he always brings it back around. There's one clip of him. He's like, Dave Chappelle has one stand-up section where he goes, and that made me know. I wanted him to know that that's how white people make me feel. It was extremely cringe. This is not the same thing as ripping on someone because of their race. Because that's funny. When black people, I love black comedy. Def Comedy Jam is my favorite. That's the best comedy is Def Comedy Jam. And when they rip on white people, that's a different thing. That's not this like victim culture, like feeling sorry for yourself. That's different from what I'm talking about. Indian stand-up comedians have started in with the sort of anti-white stuff. They're mimicking black comics with the anti-white stuff. They'll reference like colonialism and the British as though that's as bad as slavery. Like they've started bringing that up now. They'll say white people or white lady the same way that like Dave Chappelle or like black people do, where it's like it's an unnecessary detail for part of the story. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where it's like I was going down the street and I saw this old white lady, and it's just not. It doesn't make it funnier, and it's not like it's not a joke about white people necessarily, but they'll just throw that detail in there now as though that's good enough to get a laugh, and it's really sickening, man. If you're a fan, if you're a Sam Hyde fan, aficionado, you know for a fact that I've never once made it racial, okay? I respond to other people making it racial. That's all I can do, okay? You come at me, you try to make it racial, guess what, buddy? You're getting a lyric written about you in my song that ends up donating God knows how much money to whatever charity that I send it to anonymously.
When I was in high school, Lil Wayne was the biggest rapper.
Let's pause there. I'm sensing a lot of stress. How about this? I want to see good things happen to people.
That's what I'm saying.
I've never once said I like to see black people get arrested. Can you imagine how mentally sick I would have to be to say that? It's a stand-up routine.
But is it even a joke?
It's not a joke. It's not a stand-up routine. It's this guy is doing his.
He's just saying like white people are the worst, right?
The new way people do stand-up, saying that you think would be interesting at a party or something.
Yeah.
Like they're not making jokes. They're being charming for their New York City friends. Like whatever city this guy is from, he's definitely from a city. He's from some city where finding a real friend is impossible, because anytime you go to some sort of social group, it's brie on toast. Oh, they have $5. Oh, it's $7. Oh, they have them. The types of conversations people have are so petty and demeaning and tiny, tiny micro world. It's micro world. When you go to certain places in New York City, or if you go to San Francisco, or if you go to like Portland, it's micro world. I guarantee you he's watched Eddie Murphy and he said to himself, hey, that's going to be me Eddie Murphy, that's going to be me one day. Not in that voice, but that's the voice that he wishes he would say it in. And as much as that's the case, he has honed his stand-up by being clever for Becky, by being clever for the half-Asian woman that he works with, by being clever for the little United Nations of heads that is his social circle in whatever stupid city he's from. So this is not really a joke. This is like his clever statement that's topical, racial, and is a truth, one of his truths that he shouldn't say. But he says in this clever context, and people laugh, which is that he likes watching white people get arrested, which is sick.
I think everyone there is probably obsessed with race.
The audience is all white people.
The last time I went to do open mic in Boston, every stand-up, probably 9 out of 10, their routines, these are like regular guys in their 20s who they're smart enough to want to do comedy, right? They live in Boston. They're in like in a major metropolitan. They're people like we were. They're 9 out of 10, their routines were like, oh, so depressed. I just found out my anti-anxiety medicine wasn't doing what it was supposed to be doing because my therapist said that I have class 4 disingenuous trigonometrics voice activation. And it was just the whole time. I've been taking this the whole time, lowering my libido the whole time for nothing. So side effect is, I guess my dick just doesn't work. 9 out of 10 we're hitting him with that. My therapist, my medication,
my doctor.
My anxiety is, these are like young white men.
Yeah.
My anxiety is so high. I'm doing so bad with my anxiety right now. I would say Bill Burr is he's like a pressure release valve for regular people. And he's like a fence sitter. He's a guy that will never say anything. He'll never say anything of substance.
He'll soften it.
But his way of like, just sort of jujitsu, like taking the average person's suspicion that life is that we're living in a time where there's just improper things going on, taking that and directing it towards Arby's for not giving him enough ice in his drink.
What about Dave Chappelle?
The thing you said, you did an impression of him that was perfect, that totally encapsulates his entire career in one statement, which is, I was the other day, I was trying to decide if I should get the burger or the sandwich. I got the sandwich. I should have gotten the burger. His whole career, like everything he says can be just, it's that substantial and it's that empty.
Look how big of a name he is.
And
yeah.
So it's
And he's
playing
huge.
the line, but you
I
know
don't-
underlying like
I don't think that's by design. I don't think that's because some handler put him there. I think it's just because that's where he fit, and he's smart enough not to jeopardize the paychecks. I would never post something. This is insane.
Like, you're obsessed with your own face, and there's people out there that are. Oh, it's the last day you're gonna have scruff on. Please tell me what's up with my president.
This is like this should be the Instagram of like a personal trainer or
What's up
something.
with my governing party? And his impressions are all bad. They're like low weight.
Yeah.
Like they're like non-committal because he doesn't want to look silly.
Mm-hmm.
It's like watching my wife do a Bill Clinton impression.
Mm-hmm. She doesn't want to get fully
like,
into it. Norm Macdonald said to parody somebody, you have to love them.
Yeah.
Like in order to get there, in order to make like a caricature that's funny, which is why it's hard to watch Alec Baldwin do Trump.
Yeah.
You know, initially
It comes from a mean place.
Yeah, and not even a mean place, just a place of like no understanding. Can we look up Trevor Noah best stand up?
I think Jon Stewart's was funny.
In his time, yeah, he had jokes. He had funny timing. He was a good comedian.
Like he knew
what funny was.
Yeah. Like,
He had an agenda, and he's not. I think this might appeal to non-English speakers, like the.
I just woke up. I can't believe how funny that is.
This is like open mic, like an open micer who like took some material and copied it, give it a little twist. I think he probably got selected because it's low risk. Because looking at that, it's got sort of a Disney type vibe to it, where it's like there's nothing about it that's threatening in any way.
Guys that are like fully safe and they can do rooms for like TJ Maxx corporate events.
Right.
And they're like, we got Bill Burr, and Bill Burr comes on and talks about like BLTs for like 3 hours. There's not enough sandwich in the BLT.
First name, last name with the 15. Sam, how did you guys originally get the MDE show onto Adult Swim?
Nick hounded them over the phone. You can get it. You can get an Adult Swim show if you're not white. You can get an Adult Swim show. You just have to bother them and like send them scripts and shit and show ideas. But Nick was very persistent.
and the heat that we had generated, over the years, that helped too. But anybody you can literally write a script and send it to these people.
Like the Daily Show from like the year 2000, like
Yeah,
Jon Stewart in his prime. I like whatever.
I didn't like it, but he made jokes that were funny.
He's got jokes. He's got punchlines. They got characters. Sometimes they're editing videos to make people look stupid. It's it's funny. You can turn your brain off and kind of laugh at that. Neither of us are getting like apoplectic right now. Like, oh my god, this guy, he's a leftist and he's on Instagram.
It's fucking simple. Funny's funny.
Mhm.
SNL stuff. There's been like I'll make fun of an anti-masking Karen.
Mm.
There's a million sketches that I can do right now. You want to talk about like Trump guy in the dealership?
Sure.
There's a million sketches you could do. A million. But like they got to be funny. It's just simple. Just like do it funny.
This stuff, it's as hard to look at as pictures of dead bodies.
Yes. It's like looking at like it's like watching your mom ride around on a Harley Davidson naked.
That's the
That's
one.
my new favorite thing to say.
That's the one.
It's the one time I've empathized with Bert Kreischer. But here's the background. Bert was trying to get all these other LA comedians to do his tour with him. And this whole thing is kind of a look into the puppeteer's hand behind all these like comedians and how entertainment works for even these guys. Not even like major movie stars, but like even podcasters. Bert wants all these people, Tim Dillon, Bobby Lee, forget who else. All these people, he's trying to get them on tour, do shows with them, and there's always these problems. They're always backing out. The reason apparently is because Bert's agent and all these other comedians' agents, they're two different people, right? And they go back like 15 years, and they had a fight like 15, 20 years ago about what level the thermostat was in their office building. So they hate each other so much that they're blackballing the comedians from working with each other. And like anytime Bert wants Bobby to do something with him, his agent will talk Bobby out of it. The funny thing is everyone knew about this but Bert for years. Like, and he this is the first time he's finding out that his career has been like pretty intensely affected by a thermostat dispute like 15 years ago.
Wait, this is him finding out about it. Manager. Or who's your agent? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where are you with?
Yeah, UTA.
Right, so that's the problem. They're mortal enemies.
Name 3 other really big comics.
Shane Gillis, but he's in it. I saw him. Yeah. Andrew Schultz.
Keep going.
I will.
Tim Dillon.
Tim Dillon.
This is all over the thermostat.
For years he couldn't work with these people.
I can't really talk, man.
And he didn't know why.
You shouldn't tamper with people's ability to make a living. I don't think that's a good thing.
A lot of people are like talking about it, and it's kind of crazy that he found out live on video, and you can see the moment it all clicks.
That's some slime ball.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not suffering, but that's still.
Yeah.
I've seen Anthony Anderson and said hi to him. I saw him at one of those Chappelle parties that he does for comedians. And then, so I was like drunk and I was like, nice, me and Anthony Anderson are friends. And I saw him at an airport like a week later and I was like, Anthony, what's up? Like I didn't even consider like maybe I shouldn't do this.
You should get
I walked
obsessed with
straight
him.
up to him and I was like, Anthony, what's up, dude? And he was like, hey, what's up? I was like, I met you at Chappelle's party a couple weeks ago. And he was just like, all right, man, cool. I had to walk away.
Don't you get fucking Hollywood on me now, dude. You were eating out of my hand that night. What the kind of party is that where Anthony Anderson's there for Dave Chappelle comic parties? Oh, fucking sounds cool. Stand-up world's cool.
It's not. It's embarrassing that I keep going to these things.